Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of the tarmac at one of the busiest international airports on Earth. All around you, an intricate, high-stakes ballet is unfolding in real time. Dozens of commercial airliners line the gates, while others taxi across concrete paths that stretch for miles. Some are arriving after long journeys, their brakes sizzling as they come to a halt, while others are lining up on the runway, preparing for grueling flights that will take them across entire oceans. Every few minutes, a massive wide-body jet roars down the runway and lifts into the sky, carrying hundreds of passengers and tens of thousands of gallons of volatile liquid energy. Simultaneously, another plane touches down, its tanks running low, immediately needing to be replenished so it can turn around and repeat the process. This relentless cycle occurs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It is an operation of such staggering magnitude that it raises a fundamental yet often overlooked question: how do airports never run out of fuel? To understand the sheer gravity of this problem, you have to realize that an airport is nothing like a local gas station. When you pull your car up to a pump, you are buying maybe 12 to 15 gallons of gasoline, which will easily last you a week or two. A major airport, however, isn't fueling commuter cars. It is supplying massive aluminum sky giants that burn through energy at a rate that defies ordinary human intuition. A single commercial aircraft can consume more fuel during its initial takeoff roll than a typical driver uses in an entire year of daily commuting. When you multiply that individual consumption by the hundreds or even thousands of daily flights that pass through a global megahub, the numbers quickly spiral into a realm that feels entirely impossible to manage. Yet, the fuel never stops flowing. The planes never pull up to a gate only to be told that the pumps have run dry. Passengers sit comfortably in the terminal, sipping coffees and checking boarding passes, completely oblivious to the massive, invisible infrastructure operating directly beneath their feet to ensure the global transportation network never grinds to a halt. To fully grasp the scale of the aviation industry's thirst, we have to look directly at the math behind modern jet engines. For decades, aerospace engineering has focused heavily on making commercial aircraft as fuel-efficient as possible. But the physics of lifting a half-million-pound metal tube into the upper atmosphere require a monumental amount of raw power. Consider the varying appetites of commercial aircraft. A standard short-haul workhorse like the Boeing 737-800 carries a maximum fuel capacity of just under 7,000 gallons, burning through roughly 850 gallons every single hour it is in the air. Step up to a mid-sized, long-haul wide-body like the Boeing 787-9 and the capacity surges to over 33,000 gallons, with an average hourly burn rate of 1,600 gallons. The larger Boeing 747-300ER pushes those boundaries even further, holding nearly 48,000 gallons of jet fuel and guzzling an incredible 2,500 gallons per hour. When you reach the absolute peak of commercial aviation architecture, the double-decker Airbus A380, the numbers become entirely surreal. The A380 can hold up to 84,500 gallons of jet fuel within its massive wings and fuselage tanks. That is enough liquid to fill a large backyard swimming pool multiple times over, loaded into a single airplane for a single journey. When you scale this up to the level of a primary international hub, the daily demand becomes astronomical. Airports like Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International, London Heathrow, or Dubai International require between 3 million and 5 million gallons of jet fuel every single day just to keep their scheduled flights moving. If you were to rely entirely on traditional tanker trucks to deliver that volume of fuel from external refineries, you would need a continuous convoy of hundreds of trucks arriving at the airport gate every single hour of the day. It would create a logistical bottleneck of catastrophic proportions, paralyzing local highway systems and overwhelming airport security checkpoints. Because running out of fuel is never an option. If a major hub experiences even a brief interruption in its fuel supply, the global aviation network begins to unravel almost immediately. Flights are canceled across multiple continents, airplanes are stranded at remote gates, international supply chains handling critical cargo collapse, and tens of thousands of travelers find themselves trapped in transit. To prevent this dark reality, airports must rely on a supply chain that is profoundly resilient, infinitely scalable, and almost entirely hidden from public view. This unbreakable supply chain begins far away from the active runways, rooted in a vast, secret network of underground pipelines. Most people assume that jet fuel is manufactured nearby or delivered purely via surface transport, but in reality, major airports are directly connected to the regional and national pipeline infrastructure of their respective countries. These pipelines stretch across hundreds of miles, silently moving millions of gallons of refined petroleum products from distant coastal refineries directly toward the perimeter of the airfield. It is a system that functions remarkably similarly to a municipal water network. The fuel is constantly under pressure, always moving and always flowing toward the airport's primary intake valves, completely independent of traffic congestion, weather anomalies, or surface disruptions. The engineering behind these pipeline systems is a marvel of modern fluid dynamics. Because building separate pipelines for every single type of petroleum product would be financially ruinous, pipeline operators use a technique known as batching. A single underground pipeline might transport automotive gasoline for 12 hours, followed immediately by ultra-low sulfur diesel, and then followed by a massive batch of Jet A or Jet A1 fuel. These distinct liquids travel through the same pipe back-to-back, moving at precise speeds to minimize mixing at the interfaces. High-tech monitoring stations use density sensors and laser spectrometry to detect exactly where one product ends and another begins, allowing operators to divert the incoming jet fuel into the correct storage facilities once it finally reaches its destination. Without this continuous subterranean lifework, the modern aviation industry quite simply could not exist. Once the pipeline delivers the fuel to the airport property, the liquid transitions into the first major line of defense against supply disruption, the fuel farm. Located usually on the far periphery of the airport boundary, well away from the passenger terminals, the fuel farm is a heavily fortified industrial compound dominated by clusters of colossal, white storage tanks. These structures are easily recognizable from the air, but few passengers appreciate the critical role they play as the airport's energy reservoir. A standard airport fuel farm consists of multiple tanks, each capable of holding several million gallons of fuel. Combined, they are designed to maintain a strategic buffer, typically a 3 to 5 day supply of fuel, to insulate the airport against unexpected disruptions upstream, such as a temporary refinery shutdown or a pipeline maintenance event. These massive storage units are far more sophisticated than simple metal drums. Most modern aviation fuel tanks utilize a design known as a floating roof. Instead of having a fixed ceiling with an empty pocket of air above the liquid, the roof literally floats directly on top of the fuel surface, rising and falling as the tank is filled or drained. This design eliminates the presence of vapor space inside the tank, drastically reducing the risk of explosive vapor buildup and preventing evaporation loss. Furthermore, the interior surfaces are coated with specialized epoxy liners to prevent metallic corrosion, ensuring that the fuel remains pristine during its period of rest. However, a fuel farm is not merely a passive storage facility. It is a highly active quality control laboratory. Jet fuel is subjected to some of the strictest purity standards of any liquid on Earth because at 35,000 feet, small impurities can have fatal consequences. The primary enemy of jet fuel is water. If water manages to find its way into an aircraft's fuel tanks, it settles to the bottom because it is denser than the fuel. When the aircraft climbs into the extreme cold of the upper atmosphere, where ambient temperatures frequently plummet below -50 degrees Celsius, that suspended water can instantly freeze into ice crystals. These ice crystals can clog delicate fuel filters, starving the engines of fuel and causing a catastrophic dual-engine flameout. To prevent this, the fuel farm enforces a strict operational protocol known as settling time. Whenever a tank receives a new batch of fuel from the pipeline, it is immediately locked down and isolated. The fuel must sit entirely undisturbed for a specific period, typically 1 hour for every foot of liquid depth in the tank. This allows any microscopic water droplets or fine particulate matter to slowly settle to the absolute bottom of the cone-shaped tank floor, where it can be mechanically drained off through specialized sump valves. Only after passing a battery of rigorous chemical tests, including the clear and bright visual inspection and chemical water detection kits, is the fuel finally cleared to move forward into the distribution system. Once the fuel is certified pure, it must be transported from the perimeter fuel farm to the actual wings of the aircraft parked at the gates. At smaller regional airports, this task is still handled by traditional fuel bowsers, specialized tanker trucks that drive back and forth across the tarmac. But at a massive mega hub, relying on trucks to move millions of gallons of fuel across active taxiways would be a logistical disaster and an unacceptable safety hazard. Instead, these airports utilize a brilliant piece of infrastructure known as an underground hydrant system. Beneath the thick concrete slabs of the airport apron lies a vast, high-pressure network of steel piping that connects the central fuel farm directly to every single parking gate at the terminal. This system is kept constantly pressurized by massive, computer-controlled pumps at the fuel farm, which adjust their output dynamically based on how many aircraft are drawing fuel simultaneously across the airport complex. The operational flow of this underground network is a masterpiece of hidden engineering. It begins at the central fuel farm, where high-pressure pumps force the certified jet fuel into the primary subterranean mains. These pipelines branch out beneath the terminal apron substructure, terminating directly at individual gate positions. When an airplane pulls up to the gate, a passenger looking out the window might notice a small, inconspicuous metal hatch embedded directly into the concrete beneath the aircraft's wing. This hatch houses a high-pressure hydrant pit valve. To fill the airplane, a ground crew member drives up in a compact vehicle known as a hydrant servicer or a pumper truck. Crucially, this vehicle does not actually carry any fuel in its own chassis. Instead, it acts as a mobile bridge, a sophisticated regulation and filtration platform. The operator connects a heavy-duty intake hose from the underground concrete pit valve directly into the hydrant servicer vehicle. As the fuel flows into the vehicle, it passes through specialized internal systems that filter out microparticles and any trace water while regulating the surging fluid pressure to safe levels. From the vehicle, the fuel is pumped up through high-delivery deck hoses into the aircraft's wing manifold, filling the internal wing fuel tanks safely and efficiently. As the valves open, fuel rushes out of the ground and surges up into the aircraft's wings at rates of up to 1,000 gallons per minute. The system is designed with incredible safety redundancies, including an emergency deadman switch that the fuel operator must actively hold in their hand. If the operator collapses, releases the switch, or steps away for even a second, the entire high-pressure flow instantly cuts off, preventing an environmental spill or a fire hazard. This underground network effectively transforms the entire airport apron into a massive, invisible gas station, capable of delivering millions of gallons of energy directly to dozens of aircraft simultaneously without a single tanker truck ever needing to cross a taxiway. Despite the incredible sophistication of these pipeline networks, fuel farms, and hydrant systems, the entire operation remains vulnerable to the chaotic realities of our world. While complete fuel exhaustion is exceedingly rare, localized supply crises have occurred, offering a stark look into just how dependent global aviation is on this invisible infrastructure. In recent history, major hubs have faced severe fuel rationing due to unexpected pipeline ruptures, prolonged refinery strikes, or sophisticated cyber attacks on energy infrastructure. When a crisis strikes, the airport's strategic buffer tanks buy the airline's time. But if the disruption lasts more than a few days, the aviation industry must quickly pivot into an aggressive, survivalist mode of operation. The primary strategy used by airlines during a localized fuel shortage is an economic and logistical practice known as tankering. Under normal operating conditions, an airline wants its aircraft to land at a destination with as little fuel as possible because carrying the extra weight of unnecessary fuel burns more fuel, increasing operational costs and carbon emissions. However, if an airline knows that their destination airport is suffering from a critical fuel shortage, they will intentionally fill the aircraft's tanks to absolute capacity at their origin airport. This allows the plane to fly to the fuel-starved destination, land, drop off its passengers, and take off again for the return journey without taking a single drop of fuel from the impacted airport. While tankering is highly effective at keeping flights moving during an emergency, it comes with a severe financial and environmental penalty. Carrying that immense weight penalty across thousands of miles means the airline is burning a substantial amount of extra fuel just to transport fuel, costing millions of dollars and significantly increasing the flight's carbon footprint. If the shortage is severe enough that tankering cannot bridge the gap, airlines are forced to add unscheduled technical stops to their long-haul routes. A non-stop flight from Asia to Europe might be forced to land at a midway point in Central Asia or the Middle East simply to refuel, shattering flight schedules, disrupting crew duty hours, and causing a massive ripple effect of delays that can take weeks to fully resolve. These rare emergencies serve as a vivid reminder that the apparent simplicity of booking a flight and flying across the globe is entirely dependent on the continuous, unbroken health of a deeply complex energy supply chain. As we look toward the future, the logistics of airport fuel management are facing their most profound transformation since the dawn of the jet age, driven by the global push for environmental sustainability. The aviation sector is under intense pressure to decarbonize, and the primary weapon in this battle is sustainable aviation fuel, commonly known as SAF. SAF is a biofuel manufactured from renewable resources such as used cooking oils, agricultural waste, and municipal solid waste, and it has the potential to reduce net carbon emissions by up to 80% over its life cycle compared to conventional petroleum-based jet fuel. The journey of sustainable aviation fuel from raw material to an airplane's wings requires a highly specialized upstream integration flow before it ever reaches the terminal gate. The process begins with the collection of renewable feedstocks, such as agricultural waste or used cooking oil. These raw materials are transported to a dedicated SAF production plant, where they are refined through advanced chemical processes into pure biosynthetic kerosene. Because production facilities are currently decentralized, this pure biofuel must be transported via high-volume rail cars, barges, or specialized delivery trucks directly to the airport fuel farm interface. Once it arrives on airport property, the fuel enters a dedicated SAF receipt and testing facility to ensure its chemical properties are flawless. From there, it moves into automated blending infrastructure, where it is systematically mixed with conventional Jet A fuel arriving from the primary regional pipeline. The system carefully combines the two fluids to create a certified 50-50 drop-in molecular blend, which is then safely released into the primary high-pressure airport hydrant network for standard gate delivery. This blending process cannot happen haphazardly at the gate. It must be carefully executed at upstream blending facilities or within the central fuel farm itself to ensure that the final chemical composition matches the exact rigid specifications required by aircraft engines and certified by international safety bodies. This requires modern fuel farms to expand their infrastructure, adding dedicated offloading stations, specialized testing laboratories, and automated blending systems, all while maintaining the continuous, high-volume flow of conventional fuel that the airport relies on to survive day to day. It is an operational puzzle, akin to modifying an engine while the car is speeding down the highway at 70 miles per hour. When you step back and look at the entire picture, you realize that a modern airport is far more than a simple transportation terminal where people board airplanes. It is a massive industrial-scale energy hub, a processing facility, and a highly complex logistical node operating on a scale that defies easy visualization. The sheer volume of fuel consumed every single day by global aviation is a testament to the incredible interconnectedness of our modern world, and the fact that this system operates so flawlessly that the average passenger never even thinks about it is perhaps its greatest achievement. The next time you find yourself sitting in an airport terminal waiting for your flight to board, take a close look out the window at the concrete tarmac below. Look past the baggage carts, the catering trucks, and the boarding bridges. Consider the invisible world operating quietly right beneath the wheels of those massive airplanes. Think of the pipelines stretching across distant fields and mountain ranges, the colossal fuel farms working around the clock to certify chemical purity, and the high-pressure hydrant networks pulsing with energy directly beneath your feet. The reason airports never run out of fuel isn't because they simply have a lot of it stored away in a back room. It is because they are the terminal point of an incredible, living, breathing subterranean system that operates every single second of every single day. A masterclass in modern engineering and supply chain management that quietly works to ensure the world never stops moving.